Da, 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 da.
Hey folks, welcome to Trget Plays. Today is a special review episode where I look at the game FTL, Faster Than Light. Now, this is a spaceship simulation real-time roguelike, and it was originally kickstarted back in March, which it finished on the 1st of April. And they were originally looking for $10,000 to finish the game, but it was incredibly popular and they ended up with more than $200,000 pledged to make the game. This is back when Kickstarter originally took off, and I'm lucky enough that I did actually see it go big and I did pledge. And so at the moment they let everybody into the beta early, so I thought I'd do this review because I've been playing the game and enjoying it lots. So the game's made by Subset Games, which consists of Matthew Davis and Justin Ma. Excuse my pronunciation on his surname. They're from China. And the game is due out on September the 14th. I have no idea how much it is, but the build you're seeing me play currently is still the beta. So some features might not work and some things might change going into the real game when it is released. But I'll take you through the game as I play a bit, and hopefully you'll... well, I don't know what to say there really. Well, hopefully you'll enjoy what you see, and if you haven't Kickstarter you might actually look at picking it up, because I really enjoy the game. If we have a quick look at the stats menu, you can see I've played 6 games in total, where I so far haven't won any, but I did get to the last level 3 times. And there are also achievements in the game, some of which are quite a lot of fun, such as I've managed to set an entire enemy ship on fire. But that doesn't quite make sense, so I'll pop into the game. So this is the start page. Well, it's just your starting screen. So this is where you pick whether you play on easy or normal. So I'm going to stick to easy for the time being, as well as you can pick your different ships. So far I've only unlocked 2. You start with the Kestrel Cruiser, and if you get to level 5 you unlock the NG Cruiser. And I've also managed on the NG Cruiser, which is currently called the Taurus, to unlock the second type of rooms. Now if you look at, well, I'll go back to the Kestrel. If you look at the rooms, the ship consists of a different number of rooms that you might associate with spaceships. You have the engine and weapons, and then you've the helm or bridge, along with this 2 starting crew members, well 3 starting crew members, I wasn't counting the pilot there, but then you also have sensors, door control, the med bay, the shields, which I'm not quite sure what to call the room. It's where they configure the shields, as well as the oxygen room, where air is made so that they can breathe, because as you know, space is rather empty. So I'm gonna hop into a game using the Kestrel, which it starts with 3 crew members, which you can see here. Now, as a crew member works in a room, he'll gain skill in that room, as well as having the different option, the 2 additional skills. Well, let me state that again. Some of the rooms have skills associated with them. Those would be the bridge, the shields, the engine room, and the weapons. The more skilled the player is, the more skilled the crew member in that room is, the better performance you get out of it. Now there are 2 additional skills. One's for hand-to-hand combat, and the other is for repairing, which are both important concepts, but I'll get to those when I get into the game. Now you can also upgrade ship engines, but I'll explain that when I get to that. So the story behind the game is that you are on a vital mission, and you can read it in the background here if you want, that you're on a vital mission to get information on the rebel fleet, who have decimated the Federation fleet to some degree, back to the Federation base, but you're fleeing from the rebel fleet. Now this is where the game gets strange, and this is where the whole simulation real-time roguelike comes in, because the game is partially real-time, partially turn-based. and I'll explain that. So you can see on here I can use my FTL drive to jump to the next system, but I also have my crew member, so I'm going to put one in the shields and one in weapons, or not one in shields, one in the engine, because that gives me, if I look at the ship, engines gives me, will allow me to travel, but also give me a percentage to dodge enemy attacks, and the helm does something similar with the pilot there. Now if you have a crew member in the engine, it boosts your evasion chance to 15% base, or if he leaves the room it goes down to 10%. Whereas if you take someone off helm, the ship suddenly loses all evasion. Now I can also turn off the oxygen that's currently going into the ship, and you can see there it's going down. When it hits 0, the crew members start to lose life, and you can also send them into the med bay to be healed. The other thing you have is that all rooms are separated by doors. So if I open the door there, all the air will vent into space, which is a useful way of dealing with fires on the ship, as well as enemy crew members that are attacking the ship. So I'm going to power up my engines fully. You can see if I have no power of the engines, 1 bar and 2 bars, the evasion on my ship changes. And then there is also the upgrade menu, which you can see here that you can add 9 power bars or improve the piloting subsystem so that you get automatic evasion if there's no crew member present, which is sometimes handy, as well as upgrading the sensors on the ship to see what's going on in the interior of the enemy ship or things like that. So I'm talking a lot. You can also look at the crew and their skills or the equipment on the ship, and I'll explain those as I get to those. But for the time being, I'll let the oxygen slowly recharging on my ship. I have 16 fuel, which is the other important thing, 8 missiles, and no drone parts. Now I don't have a drone, what's the drone? I don't have a drone subsystem, so I have no use for drone parts at the moment, but I do have an Artemis missile launcher, as well as a burst laser, which are the weapons on the ship. So I'm going to go to the map screen. As you can see, I'm currently in this system, and the way the map works is that the rebel fleet that you're fleeing from travels across the map from the left to the right, and you have to get across the map to the exit before that happens. Now, the idea isn't to get there as fast as possible, because you need resources to travel. You might run low on fuel in later levels, or missiles, or even your hull integrity, so you want to explore the systems as much as possible to collect as many resources to get as far as possible. So I'm going to jump to a new system, and hopefully something interesting will happen. So each time you jump to a system, there are a number of possible things that can happen to you. The first of which is what you're seeing here, is that you can get this dialogue that pops up telling you that in this case I've run into a space station that'll take some fuel from me and give me drone parts. I'm going to reject their offer because that does nothing for me. One of the other things that can happen is that you can jump into the system and nothing might happen. There might not be anything there. Or you might run into pirates or an enemy ship or some other scenario, some of which are quite nice. So at the moment you can see I've jumped into another system, and I've managed to run into an automated ship that's from the rebel fleet. Now this means that the ship has no crew, so some of the weapons that I might have would be less effective. So boarding the enemy ship in this case is not really a good idea because there's no air on it, so your crew members will take damage immediately. But in this case, if I actually took a second to read what happens, that there is a deactivated enemy drone near a rebel space station. Now the space station has some kind of storage cache that I can get to, but to get to it I need to go through the enemy ship, otherwise I could just avoid the thing. So I'm going to attack the rebel ship to show you some combat. So there we go, and I'm going to pause the game so I can show you what's going on. So at the moment I have to charge up my weapons, which I don't have enough power for, so I'm going to deactivate my med bay because I'm not using it at the moment, to get 2 energy bars, my reactor, and also power my burst laser. As you can see, I have someone in weapons, but they're not skilled, but they do decrease the amount of time it takes to reload a weapon. So I'm going to first fire a missile into the enemy ship's shields. That'll disable shields. I'm just going to pile my burst laser, which fires 3 shots into his weapons room. Now this will hopefully disable his weapons, allowing me to destroy him and keep going. So I'm going to turn on auto fire as well. Because usually after it fires, the reticle disappears from the enemy ship, but if you turn on auto fire, it'll remain there until the ship is destroyed or you deactivate it. So I got hit there, and it took down my shields, and I've disabled their shield subsystem, which they've also damaged my weapons facility. So if I cancel the missile from loading and reactivate it, nothing will happen because I'm paused. But you can see that, there I got rid of it. You can see that their shields are red, meaning they won't have shields again. So this will get repaired as you're playing, but for the time being I'm going to ignore that and put missiles into the bridge, so that the ship can't decide to jump away while I wait for my crew member to repair the weapons. As you can see there, it's got a nice little repair bar showing me the progress. My shields will go down and back up, and I'm waiting. Now, the enemy ship also has a beam weapon. Beam weapons are not effective against shields, which is something I'm very thankful for, because I suspect the weapon they have will set my ship on fire. And a ship on fire is a big pain to deal with, because you have to either send crew members in to put out the fire or vent the air from the roof, both of which make the area quite inhospitable to your crew, especially if it's an area they're working in, such as the engine or the bridge, and you have to vent half the ship just to get rid of the fire safely. But I'm gonna let this battle finish off. It shouldn't take too long because the enemy ship has 3 hull points left. I'm actually going to disable my Artemis to conserve some missiles. So let's hope my burst laser hits all 3 times. And it's almost charged. And there we go. 3 shots, 3 hits, and the enemy ship is destroyed. So now you get to salvage loot from the enemy ship, which in this case I've salvaged 20 scrap, and use scrap to upgrade your ship. So, but because of the station that I originally discovered here, I can investigate that as well, and I'll get some more scrap, as well as an additional weapon I can mount on the ship. Or not a weapon, this will be a drone. So if I get a drone subsystem, I can use my anti-ship beam drone to attack the ship. But what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to upgrade my engines as well as get an additional power bar to put in it. This will get up my evasion to 25%, meaning I'll miss 25% of hits to the ship, or 1 in 4 shots, which is quite a handy number when you're starting to take lots of damage. So let's jump to another system, which I'm going to go up there. Now, the rebel fleet hasn't appeared behind me yet, so I won't explain that much more. But I've managed to run into a rebel fighter, and they're going to try and kill me, and I more or less have to do the same. So now as you can see, the enemy ship is dark, and that's because I don't have level 2 sensors. Those would actually show me where the enemy crew members are on the ship, and give me a better idea of what they're focusing on. So I'm going to, as standard, well, as I do standard, focus on their weapons and shields. So that's the battle run. You can see doors open, so you can have a rough idea of where enemy crew are moving in the ship, but you can't see much of what's going on. So I've disabled their shields and damaged their weapons, so that's disabled one of their weapons. So they only have a beam weapon left, which I'm not too concerned about because I still have my shields up, and I've disabled all their weapons except the beam weapon again, which has just come back up. And one more hit from my burst laser should destroy them, as their hull only has one hull point left. Single hit point, and salvage the ship, or loot, which in this case is 1 fuel, 1 drone part, and 17 scrap. So I'm going to keep going out. There is a store there, but you can see the rebel fleet has appeared in the sector. So I'm going to jump into the store and hopefully find a crew. But the current line you can see is where the rebel fleet will be after I've jumped. And that is an area that's you will encounter a big rebel ship in that's quite hard to take down and very dangerous. So you kind of want to avoid that that line, but explore as much of the surrounding area as possible, because the more loot you have, the more upgraded your ship is, the better weapons you can mount, the easier it is to fight enemy ships. And on the 8th sector map, which is the 8th level, you have to fight the rebel flagship. And that is quite a tough fight. I've managed to only take it out twice, and I've faced it 3 times. And each time I've only defeated the first form, because if you defeat it, it'll jump away, and you'll actually have to fight it again. But as you can see, the current one, we found a shop, so in this case it's on a planet. Now, in the shop I can buy some items, or sell items, so I'm going to sell the anti-ship beam drone, because that's worth 25 scrap to me. And then using that, I can either repair the ship, buy fuel, missiles, or drone parts, or augmentations for the ship. So I'm going to buy a scrap recovery arm, which boosts any scrap I gain by 10%, which eventually works out as quite a tidy number. That's usually 2 or 3 scrap more every game. And I haven't actually used long-range sensors before, but I can't afford it if I take the scrap recovery arm anyway. So what I might do as well is, currently my ship's doing fairly well. I still have a lot of 26 hull points left out of a maximum of 30. So I'm not going to repair for the time being. And I'm done there, so I'll jump to the next system, and hopefully something interesting will happen there. Well, I've run into a pirate ship, so I can either ignore them or attack the pirate ship. The pirate ship's attacking a remote settlement, or is blockading it, so I'm gonna help the remote settlement. And hopefully this will leave me better off, so I'll attack the pirate, because I'll definitely get loot from it, and the settlement might actually be grateful and give me something as well. So I'm gonna move into engage, pause the game, and apologies for that flash, that was something in the background that just finished running. And I'm going to attack the ship with as is now standard for me, putting 1 missile into their shields and my burst laser into their weapons. So let's wait for that to run by. Now, the game does go a bit slowly, but I'm playing in full screen at the moment, and they've just taken out my shields, but I've badly damaged them, so they're pleading with me. So they will give up piracy, because they are horrible at it, and give me 2 fuel, 3 missiles, and 13 scrap to stop. So I think I'll do that for the time being, because they did actually take out my shield, but that shouldn't be too critical damage. So I'll do that. They didn't actually damage my shields, they just fired an ion weapon, and that temporarily disables the system, as you can see down there. It locks it and prevents you from making any changes to the system or doing anything. I'll wait for that to wear off, and then I actually still need to repair the system. So I'll take Magmar Wolf weapons and put them in shields to repair. You can see he's slowly developing weapon skill as well as repair skill. And there are 3 levels of this, and I might show you some of that later as it goes along, but I'm going to keep playing for the time being. So you can see from the current area I have 4 options to jump to, and one of them shows a distress signal. So I'm going to attempt to be helpful and kind and jump to the distress signal. And this turns out to be a rock ship that is neutral. They're normally very aggressive if you're in their space, but I'm going to be nice and give them some fuel to help them along. And they're actually giving me scrap as payment, which is very kind of them. And I just realized that I actually turned off my shields in the previous one, so it's a good thing this wasn't a hostile encounter. So I am actually going to upgrade the sensors on my ship so I can see better what's going on in enemy ships, and start moving towards the exit. Now you can see War of the Rebel Fleet is in sectors. Now the sectors that they've expanded into are very dangerous, and you usually have to fight a big ship there, and usually you want to jump out before you do anything. Now I haven't actually jumped out of the combat yet, but I've run into a pirate ship and they've actually disabled my engines, which is a bad thing, which means I can't actually jump away, which is oddly enough the thing I just wanted to talk about. So I'm quickly going to take these out. I'm going to move my fan from engines to shields, so that'll boost my shield recharge rate. And then I'm only going to use the burst laser in this mission, because that will, well, I'll conserve missiles for a bit later on. I might need them more at that point. Now, because I have someone in shields, you can see the room is manned, and that actually boosts the recharge rate on the shields. Because I have a burst fire weapon that fires 3 shots at a time, I can reliably take down their shields on the first hit, and then do 2 damage to the ship after that. And in this case, I usually disable their weapons, which is quite nice for me, because it means I don't take fire and I can just sit here and slowly shoot at them. So this should take them out in a second, and I'm going to actually just transfer back to the engine room, and that takes them out, and I should hopefully get some scrap and extra fuel, both of which are always nice. And I'll jump to the sector exit. Now, as you can see, whenever I jump in, it shows that the FTL drive is charging. Now, if you jump into combat against an enemy ship and you don't want to be there, your hull might be low, or you might not have any effective weapons or anything. So you have to wait for that to charge up before you can leave the area. So you might just be busy battering down the hatches, hoping to survive one round and get on to the next. Now, I've spotted a small rebel ship, and it looks to be a transport, and I can actually make like a pirate. Now, since this is a rebel ship, which is the faction that I'm fighting against, I'm going to demand the surrender of their goods. They say no, and I have to fight them. Well, they're trying to escape, so I'm going to target my laser at their bridge and a missile at their engines to disable them. Now, disabling either of these 2 systems will stop the ship from jumping away. As you can see, my FTL drive is slowly charging up, and the more you upgrade the engine, the faster that charges, and that does eventually turn into a benefit. So I've disabled their bridge and their engines, and they're now frantically trying to repair them. Just have to repair them before they can jump away. So I should destroy them in 1 more hit, so I'm going to disable my missile so I don't have to waste one. I've also set their bridge on fire, so you can see they're fighting it and they're slowly burning up. I'm actually just going to put this into their weapons, just to be annoying, and they're fleeing that. Their one member is badly damaged and died soon if he stayed in that room. So I've managed to actually get another crew member, as well as some missiles, a drone part, and scrap from the ship. Now, this means that I can put a Trget in the shields, and he'll manage the shields for me from there, which is quite nice. So now I'm even better defended against enemy ships. I'm not upgrading yet, because I want to hopefully find another store and get some good parts before I upgrade. So the game does have some management between getting upgrades immediately or saving up a bit for better weapons or new or additional crew. Now, there are 6 races in the game. They would be the Zoltan, the NG, the Rock, Slugmen, Humans, and Mantis. And each race has some bonuses associated with them. So the Humans have no bonuses. The NGs have a bonus that they repair at double speed, but they only deal half damage. Zoltan are an enlightened race of some kind, and they actually will provide 1 power to the room they're in. So they are very good to have in weapons or engines or shields, because they actually save you upgrading the ship once. Then you have the Rockmen. They are immune to fire and have additional health. The Mantis deal double combat damage. And then the last race that I haven't mentioned, and I think this is all 6 of them, are the Slug people. And they basically function like advanced sensors on the ship. They'll show you where enemy life forms are on the enemy ship, which is very handy if you're in nebulae, because in nebulae you usually disable your sensors so you can't see what's going on. So I'm going to jump into NG control sector, because I hope to find NG crewmen in there who will help repair the ship. And as you can see, it gives you a slight intro to the space and tells you what to expect. And the NG tend to be friendly in general, but that doesn't stop pirates from being in the system. So you can see that the map here, I have two choices to jump, north or south. So I'm going to go south, so I can take a reasonably long circuitous route to get to the exit of this sector. As you can see, I'm now came up against the Mantis ship hunting in the distance. Now this means it's a pirate and it is neutral, so I can avoid it, but I'm going to attack it because I want to either disable it and loot it, or destroy it and loot it. And at the end of the day, loot is loot. So now I upgraded my internal systems so I can see the inside of the enemy ship, and they're preparing to engage me. So they have one missile launcher, beam weapon, and some kind of pulse laser. So I'm, as always, going to fire into their weapons bay in hope of disabling it, and I will hang on to the Artemis missile just in case I need it. So you can see my shield room is on fire, so the crew member has to put out the fire first before they will actually start repairing. So I'm going to, actually no, I'll keep preparing. Now you can pause at any time, it doesn't affect the game, so I'm going to leave this running so that the game goes a bit faster and I don't have to talk through as many boring bits, because you can see the action happening and they're down to one hull point with only one functioning weapon, and I should take them out in the next volley, which I have. So I'm going to, as you can see, I have looted 3 fuel, a drone and some scrap, and I can attempt to contact the civilian ship in the area. Now they may give me additional loot, or they may have just fled, so they say thank you and repair my ship a little for me, which is always nice to happen. So I'm quickly going to heal my 2 crew members that were stuck in the fire and send them back to their stations and jump to the next system. And hopefully this isn't a dead-end system, otherwise, well, I'll be finishing up sooner. But I jumped into a system and there was nothing much here except some loot, so I get 18 more scrap and a heavy laser Mark II. Now the heavy laser needs 3 energy, so I have to either disable both my Artemis and burst laser to enable it, or upgrade the weapon control to boost the system. But as you can see, the more you upgrade a room, the more expensive it is to keep upgrading it. So 1 level is 35, but upgrading 2 levels will need a payment of the first 35 and then an additional 50 for the second level. So this is why I stockpile scrap, so that I can, when I need it in a pinch, upgrade a specific area. So I'm actually just going to upgrade my engines more. I'm going to take that approach, that if they can't hit me, they can't hurt me. And I'm actually down 1 energy, okay, and I'm just going to upgrade another energy bar so that I can still use my 2 primary weapons. And I'm going to jump to a system which is a store, which I should have checked before I made those upgrades, because what can we get here? Now the Hermes and Breach are missiles and bombs. I could also get a crew teleporter, which allows me to, well, invade the enemy ship. What can be risky is you might lose a crew member, and it can be, if you destroy the ship or jump away without teleporting them back, you lose that crew member, which isn't that nice to happen. Now I can actually sell the heavy laser, and I'm probably not going to use it for the time being, so I will do that and just stockpile some more scrap for the time being and jump to the next system, which is another store. So I'm going to do it that way. See what they have. Now, they, however, this time have a drone control and a crew teleporter. Neither of which I'm going to pick up. Actually, I'll pick up the crew teleporter so I can show you how the room functions. But I haven't powered it yet, so I do have one spare power that I can move between the medbay and the teleporter room. Just to show you, and then I'm going to start making my way to the exit of this sector. And I might finish up this video once I leave this sector, because the game, while it does go on slow and it's probably a bit more boring to watch, is quite a lot of fun to play, because you do have these decisions to make between the immediate payoff of upgrading your ship or stockpiling a bit of scrap to get to a store and either buy more weapons or fuel or repair your ship, and that makes a lot more interesting, because you have to actually decide where you're going to spend what you do and what use of the stuff there is. So nothing happened in this sector. I don't know if I can make the jump from either of the two uppermost stars that I can jump to, so I'm just going to jump to one of them, so I can hopefully circle around if I can't make the jump. And see, I can see a Federation signal on the nearby planet, so I'm going to investigate, and I find a hidden Federation outpost that gives me some loot, and then a quest to attack another, or go assist another Federation outpost that's under attack. So I get 2 missiles, drone parts, and some scrap. So let's see where the quest is now. I can get to the exit from here, and judging by the distance that the enemy fleet will go up after this jump, I should have 1, 2, 3 more turns to go. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 back there, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 back there. So I'm going to take a risk and try and assist this, complete this quest, so I can show you what happens if you jump into rebel controlled space, which is quite hard to do. Now, in the system I just so happen to run into a ship that I can move into system. Now I suspect that if I had power in my teleporter room, that I would have actually been able to teleport them out to rescue them that way, so I'll move in closer. But it turns out that it's ambushed by 2 mantis. And of course I'm being boarded by an enemy that is teleporting onto my ship. So I'm going to put missiles into or just my burst laser into the enemy weapon control, and then take my 2 crew members out of shields and weapons to go deal with the intruder. So I might actually open the medbay and hope that they attempt to attack the medbay. I'll put 1 power there preemptively. But you can see my crew is taking damage on the side. And so before they die, well, don't actually have to worry about that. I'll actually heal my other crew members in the engine room as well. They have a defense drone to protect their ship, and I don't actually want to attack it, so they've also disabled my shields. So if I shoot a missile at them, the drone will probably shoot down the missile, and some of the upgraded defense drones actually shoots down missiles as well. So I'm going to give my crew a second to finish healing up, put them back in their respective rooms. That goes in the engine, goes in weapons. Isn't completely fully healed, but it's close enough. So that should see me able to fight them off. And I've disabled their weapons. And they do still have a defense drone, but 1 more good volley should take care of them. Soon, hopefully. And I missed that shot, so 1 more volley. Now I've rearranged my weapons to put the burst laser first. Excuse me. I've rearranged my weapons to put the burst laser first, and what this means is that if the section gets damaged, the furthest away or the rightmost system will be disabled first to keep things functioning. So as you can see, I've destroyed the enemy ship and looted it. And now I'm just going to jump to the quest area. And hopefully the quest isn't too hard to complete. You can see it's an automated drone that is attacking a small Federation outpost. And I will pause the game and put a missile into their weapon. No. My burst laser into their weapons and a single missile into their shields, just to help me along. And this is an automated ship. I can board it. The rooms are red, so there's no oxygen. So my crew member would have to survive in there until the teleporter room became active again. So I'm quickly going to move my crew member into the teleporter room to see. No, I can't teleport them locally on my ship. So I'll leave that for the next bit, and this should be the end of the drone. Now I get to loot the drone, and then I get some loot from the base that I've saved, and it turns out it had a lone survivor that's joining my crew. So now I have another crew member, and it's just another human, which is kind of... Well, I was hoping it would be an alien so I could show you one of the alien races, but I'll use this crew member as a boarding party. And I'm going to 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to cut this very close to getting close back to the exit. So I'm going to get to the exit system just as the rebel fleet gets there, which means I'm going to have a hard fight to get out of the area. So you can see the background's changed. It's covered in rebel ships, and they've found me, and I have to battle my way through them. And you can see the ship's much bigger. It has 2 shields and a lot more hull points that I have to battle through to actually get at them. So I will... Well, I don't really like boarding because they have 2 crew members fighting my single crew member that has to stay in there while the teleporter recharges, or it's locked down after you use it, so you have to wait 20 seconds before you can teleport them back, and I'm pretty sure they'll actually kill him in less time than that, or severely incapacitate him, but I'm going to do it anyway, just so that you can see what's happening. So, I've paused it. I'm going to use missiles in this game, and burst laser into their weapons, and a missile into their medbay, so that they don't heal up any damage that I cause to them. And then I'm also going to teleport my crew member into their shield room to disable that for me, and I'm going to keep him locked so that you can see he's now fighting 2 of them and taking damage, and you can see that the medbay that I have is locked down, so I'm just going to keep fleeing from them while I wait for it to recharge, and then I'm going to teleport him back, and the enemy ship's on fire, so I could have actually left him there a bit more. You can see he's very low on health, so while I wait for that and they repair my weapons, I'm just going to slowly whittle down their ship, and that's an incoming missile, which luckily doesn't damage the room that it just hit. So, there. And fire spreads on the ship, of course, unless you buy the upgraded doors, which turn them into blast doors, which also makes it harder for enemy crew members to run around the ship. So you saw me running around on the enemy ship. If they had blast doors, I would have had to fight my way through the doors before I could do anything to them. And that is quite a difficult thing to do. So I'm going to now attack their shields. And they just lost their engine to the fire, but I'm going to keep firing on their shields so I can hopefully disable them before they attempt to... Well, I doubt they're going to attempt to jump away, but it's worth trying anyway. You can see they're using medbay, so I should have actually taken out the medbay. But after I've disabled the enemy ship. I could have jumped out of the system earlier, but I do at least get 1 fuel from that battle, and I get to go to the next sector, so I can choose to go to an uncharted nebula, which slows down the pursuing enemy fleet, or jump into a pirate control sector. So I'm going to jump into the uncharted nebula, so you can see that area a bit. Now, the electronics in these tend to fail, so you see my sensor systems down, so I can actually tell what's happening on the ship. So I'm going to move my 1 crew member towards the weapons control, so that they can help in there if the ship gets damaged or anything happens. And I might actually just upgrade my... oh, I'm going to add a power bar to the ship. So I'm now no longer have to juggle power to get systems active, but I'm just going to make a straight beeline for the exit. Now, I think I'm going to end my review there. I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen of the game. I sure as hell enjoyed a lot, and I know my flatmate can't wait for them to release the game. And, well, I'll see you next time when I play something, which I don't know what it is. At the moment my channel is airing some Trget with Trget because of the downtime I had unexpectedly last week, largely to do with some of the stuff I was doing with my new computer that made it slightly difficult to upload stuff from home, which has a horrible broadband connection because it's out in the middle of nowhere in Longford. But I'm back, and should be uploading content regularly again. Next week it's going to be Trget every evening at 8 till next Wednesday, which I might actually extend to Friday, and after that I'll go back to the normal schedule of Trget on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, and other games on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I'm actually going to see, as games come out, I might do more review episodes like this, and if you like them, remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time. Take care, folks. I have a pirate to battle.